Don't raise your voice to prove you're right. Focus your mind with every word of irrefutable fact you can find. Because conviction is the calm that comes when you know that you really do know. People who read the Financial Times know that they can shape their own perspectives with confidence because their viewpoints are informed by genuinely unbiased journalism. Clarity and conviction. Source, FT. Subscribe to the Financial Times at ft.com/sourceft.
Great brands, great prices. Everyone's got a reason to rack.
You know they have Marc Jacobs?
Nike? Yes. Just so many good brands.
Join the Nordy Club at Nordstrom Rack to unlock exclusive discounts on your favorite brands. Shop new arrivals first and more. Plus, get an extra 5% off every Rack purchase with a Nordstrom credit card. More perks, more value. That's why you rack.
Welcome to Lit Reading. I'm Don McDonald. I have always loved the work of Lewis Carroll. In fact, Lit Reading began with my rendition of Carroll's nonsense poem, Jabberwocky. Carroll's only foray into shorter works came in the form of poetry, much of which found its way into his Alice books. That allows me to create the perfect introduction for today's bonus episode of Lit Reading using a passage from Alice's conversation with a knight in Through the Looking Glass. The name of the song is Haddock's Eyes. Oh, that's the name of the song, is it? Alice said, trying to feel interested. No, you don't understand, the knight said, looking a little vexed. That's what the name is called. The name really is The Aged Man. Then I ought to have said, that's what the song is called. Alice corrected herself. No, you oughtn't. That's quite another thing. The song is called Ways and Means, but it's only what it's called, you know. Well, what is the song, then? Said Alice, who was, by this time, completely bewildered. I was coming to that, the knight said. The song really is A-Sittin' on a Gate, and the tune's my own invention. I'll tell thee everything I can. There's little to relate. I saw an aged man a-sittin' on a gate. Who are you, aged man, I said, and how is it you live? And his answer trickled through my head like water through a sieve. He said, I look for butterflies that sleep among the wheat. I make them into mutton pies and sell them on the street. I sell them unto men, he said, who sail on stormy seas. And that's the way I get my bread, a trifle, if you please. But I was thinking of a plan to dye one's whiskers green, and always use so large a fan that they could not be seen. So, having no reply to give to what the old man said, I cried, Come tell me how you live, and thumped him on the head. His accents mild took up the tale, he said, I go my ways, and when I find a mountain rill, I set it in a blaze. And thence they make a stuff they call Rowland's Macassar oil, yet tuppence halfpenny is all they give me for my toil. But I was thinking of a way to feed oneself on batter, and so go on from day to day, getting a little fatter. Come tell me how you live, I cried, and what is it you do? He said, I hunt for haddock's eyes among the heather bright, and work them into waistcoat buttons in the silent night. And these I do not sell for gold or coin of silvery shine, but for a copper halfpenny, and that will purchase 9. I sometimes dig for buttered rolls, or set lime twigs for crabs. I sometimes search the grassy knolls for wheels of hansom cabs. And that's the way, he gave a wink, by which I get my wealth. And very gladly will I drink your honour's noble health. I heard him then, for I had just completed my design, to keep the Menai Bridge from rust by boiling it in wine. I thanked him much for telling me the way he got his wealth, but chiefly for his wish that he might drink my noble health. And now, if e'er by chance I put my fingers into glue, or madly squeeze a right-hand foot into a left-hand shoe, or if I drop upon my toe a very heavy weight, I weep, for it reminds me so of that old man I used to know, whose look was mild, whose speech was slow, whose hair was whiter than the snow, whose face was very like a crow, with eyes like cinders all aglow, who seemed distracted with his woe, who rocked his body to and fro, and muttered mumblingly and low as if his mouth were full of dough, who snorted like a buffalo that summer evening long ago, a-sitting on a gate. This nonsense verse is said to be a parody of a poem by Wordsworth, Resolution and Independence. Lewis Carroll was the pen name and eventually alter ego of Charles Dodgeson, a well-off Englishman in the mid-19th century. Although not a particularly prolific author because of his myriad passions, he remains one of the most popular writers of all time. Thanks again for listening to this special episode of Lit Reading. If you like what you hear, please spread the word. Tell everybody you run into. Tell them that these are great stories. You can't be offended by them. They're fun, they're enlightening, they're passionate, they're humorous. In other words, there's some great stuff here, and I hope you like the way I read them. If you do, please leave a review at Apple Podcasts or any service that allows reviews. And again, keep spreading the word. Keep listening to Lit Reading.
Don't raise your voice to prove you're right. Focus your mind with every word of irrefutable fact you can find. Because conviction is the calm that comes when you know that you really do know. People who read the Financial Times know that they can shape their own perspectives with confidence because their viewpoints are informed by genuinely unbiased journalism. Clarity and conviction. Source FT. Subscribe to the Financial Times at ft.com/sourceft.